All right, I'm just going to assume that you probably have just a kind of an overview and idea of exactly what we're going to be doing. The idea is essentially this. Right now we're weighing out two different versions of shooting. One is going to be on regular digital video. The other is going to be on the more pricey alternative, which is high definition. The idea simply being that what we're going to read through tonight is the first 45 minutes to 60 minutes of the film. Essentially, we've divided up the film into part 1 and part 2. Part 1 is what we're reading tonight. That is the section that we're going to be shooting as fast as possible as we get into. This is what we're gearing up production for. Part 2 is a more difficult shoot. It involves more people, it involves some more locations, it involves some more complex shooting. Part 1, we want to be able to turn around, show that, be able to screen it to anybody who wants to screen it. We do already have some locations and some likes, submitted to some festivals as a work in progress, but essentially the Part 1 is to generate interest in creating a Part 2. No matter what, we're going to be shooting Part 2. It is going to go all the way through. But hopefully, by stopping and halting halfway through production, it will give folks a chance to see what we are doing and have them decide if they want to become involved in it. That's really the essential thing on it. As far as the story goes, I don't want to give away a lot because we're going to be going into it. And really, this is definitely the kind of film that we want to set it up so that there are surprises along the way. I mean, it is set up so that it is misleading in a lot of different ways because we want people not to be able to guess what the next scene is, what the next scene is. It's a very unpredictable film. But I can basically boil it down to saying like this. In history, around the 1890s in France, they used to have the coal miners, and what the coal miners would do, they have entire families that would be set up where their rations, how much money they made for doing their job, were calculated down to the last franc, so they had enough money to survive, and that was it. Not a single dollar, not a single franc more to be able to build up, to be able to get on, to be able to get a better life. They were essentially slave laborers. I say all that to say this. This entire film is based on the King family. The King family are the most reviled family in a small town. I mean, I would think that most of us actually come from small towns, or at least now we live in one, so we know what it's like, that in this town, everybody knows everybody else. So if you have a family that establishes a bad name early on, that's it. It's going to carry you from cradle to grave. And that's what this film is about. These are the people that are blamed for everything. They are the scapegoats. They are the gypsies of the modern age, if you'll excuse the expression. People hate the kings. It is horrible to be a king. Now, the family is composed of the father, Trevor King, who at the very opening of the film dies. His death is what sets into motion everything that follows after that. There are, to the best of everyone's knowledge, 3 King brothers. There is Troy King, who I'll be reading for tonight. There is Deacon King, which is what Rob will be playing for tonight. And then there is Eli. I'm sorry, Logan?
No, there.
I'm sorry. I'm going to apologize in advance. I have a horrible attention span, so if I forget your names, it is me, okay? I'm bad with that. So Logan will be reading for Eli tonight. Thank you for coming, by the way. Those are the 3 King brothers. They are the central piece of the entire story. There are 2 other female characters who she will be reading for tonight. Leah is a very brief, she really has a long scene, but that's it. It's essentially an extended cameo. And then there's another character named Harlequin who is established in the Part 1, but becomes a major part of Part 2. And that's going to essentially set us into motion. Other than that, I really don't want to give away anything other than to say this is a very dark and a very grim tale that we're going to go through. As far as the characters are going to be concerned and some of the notes and some of the things just to keep in mind as you're reading, I'm going to turn the floor over to Rob to give introductions as far as the characters are concerned.
Just to tack on to what he said, a lot of people have asked me, hey, what's it about? Hey, what's it about? And I'm not trying to be aloof in my overall description of what the story is. And I know that you all would like to see more. Logan put a very fine point on it earlier. He goes, honestly, it's still up in the air. I want to know what happens next. And I can justify that and say that that's the general feel that everyone has involved. Part 2 is in the works significantly. And it will be coming along down the line. In a way, right now, I would just, if I were you, just put that whole aspect of it out of your minds, and let's just focus on what's on the paper right now as far as the characters are concerned. We're not sure how this all happened, but I have somewhat of a good grasp on these major characters. And that's really what we want to look at today. We want to play with the dialogue and see how it feels, if it gives any naturalism to it whatsoever. Now, obviously, with a lot of us reading cold or even only reading it out loud for the first time, it is going to be kind of stilted, but it will still give Ron and I the right kind of impression that we're looking for. Also, it just gives tonight gives us an opportunity to do it in front of people that we know and trust, so that we can get feedback from you. A lot of it is going to be a lot of circumstances. We're going, well, what happens next? How does this affect the outcome later on? Let's try to stay away from those, and let's just look at what we've got as far as the dialogue as is and the characters as they are. Troy King is filling the role of responsibility in